Sami Hamdi joins us now from Kasserine in neighbouring Tunisia. He is the editor of the International Interest and a Middle East risk consultant. Sami, just want to get your thoughts on these latest developments. The Turkish Foreign Ministry saying that Haftar's forces will become legitimate targets unless these Turkish civilians are released. What's your take on that?
I think Haftar is trying to drag the Turks into a fight. I think he's trying to get the Turks to come out openly into this fight against him so that he can call on more international powers to get involved in this. I think Haftar has for many years believed that the Turks and the Qataris are backing the Tripoli, whereas he in fact isn't backed by the UAE and indeed by Egypt. So he's trying to bring these powers into the open in order to extend the time that he has in order to take Tripoli. He seems to have been given a green light, whether it's from the French or whether it's from the US, that if he can take Tripoli quickly enough, maybe the international community will recognize him. He's gambling on this, but the longer he takes, the more that the international community becomes concerned with what is going on in Tripoli. So he knows his time is running out. So now it seems that Haftar is trying to draw in some of these forces in order to force some of his own allies to come out into the open and help him in Tripoli. We know that Haftar has struggled now to make gains within Tripoli. Indeed, he lost Gherian, which will be a big loss for him as well. So it seems that Haftar is now trying to provoke the Turks into action. And the proof of that is the fact that he's even going after innocent Turkish civilians in a bid what is clearly a provocation to the Turks. And there can only be one goal from it, which is to bring the Turks out into an open fight, which will force other international forces into the fight in Tripoli.
I just want to pick up on something you said there, Sami. You said it's possible that Haftar may have been given the green light from some other international player in order to go forward really quickly and take Tripoli. What makes you think that?
The international community tried to bring about some political settlement between the groups. Now, Libya has been a very difficult topic for the international community, particularly given that it was NATO that ousted Gaddafi and tried to prop up some government in Libya in order to make it work. The US are tired of Libya. France is tired of Libya. The Italians are tired of Libya. They just want some sort of solution. So when Haftar all of a sudden is moving to the south, he spent 6 months fighting terrorist organizations, according to the US. The US believes that it doesn't matter who wins, because at the end of the day, they will come to Washington and they will agree to protect US interests. With Haftar being so strong in the east, the US has essentially said, look, we're tired of Libya. Whoever wins and brings stability, we're willing to back them. Stability is the key word. It's no longer about democracy. It's no longer about rights. It's no longer about revolution. It's no longer about freedom. The US only cares about stability. France only cares about stability. The proof of that is, let's remember, when Haftar took the oil ports in the north, Trump only got involved because the oil price spiked. If the oil price had not spiked, he would not have got involved. He threatened to bomb Haftar immediately, implying that the US is only concerned about Libya insofar as its interests are threatened. Now Haftar has said to the US, with the help of the UAE, who have lobbied heavily in Washington, that I can bring you that stability. Washington has essentially said or implied, Haftar, if you can take Tripoli quick enough, we'll recognize you. Just bring us the stability that you've brought us in the east. This is the rules of this very unjust world that we live in, but this is the reason why I believe there is a green light. Haftar has been given a limited window and they are waiting to see if he can take Tripoli.
What is the likelihood, do you think, that the Turks would be militarily drawn into a direct conflict with Khalifa Haftar? I mean, it's a pretty big thing for the Turks to say that his forces will become legitimate targets.
I don't think Turkey will go in on its own. If Turkey does decide to go in, it will go in via an alliance. The problem is, let's look at it practically. If we know that the US has implied a green light to Haftar, they cannot go to Washington and ask NATO and ask for that kind of support. The French are the ones who brought Haftar onto the political scene, so it's unlikely that the French will back any Turkish intervention. Moreover, given Turkey's domestic situation, Turkey doesn't want to be bogged down into a war, even though this is a provocation. However, let's not forget, there is support for the Tripoli government coming from Turkey, coming from the Qataris, just as there is support for Haftar coming from the UAE and coming from the Egyptians. I don't think the Turks will be provoked into an all-out war. They won't be provoked into an open war because they know this is exactly what Haftar wants. But I do think, however, that Haftar is trying to put pressure. He is gambling on that there will be domestic pressure in Turkey that will push Erdogan to make concessions in Libya. It all depends on whether the Turks are aware of what Haftar is trying to achieve. It all depends as to whether that there is a clear assessment of what Haftar wants to achieve. And in this way, maybe Turkey might be able to get out of this situation. But it's clear that Haftar is getting more desperate. And this is why he's going after innocent civilians.
Thank you for that. That's Sami Hamdi breaking it down for us there from Kasserine in Tunisia.